This is Maximum Octane, but you clicked on it, so you probably do. And I'm Kim Hickey, and this is my co-host, Jason Patel. We are filming live on location from Waikoloa Village in Hawaii at the Hilton. It's pretty amazing. We're here for ATI's super conference, our annual super conference. We've just been having a lot of fun talking to people and seeing everybody. So joining us today is Josh Oberlander. Did I say that properly?
Yeah, Oberlander, correct. Yeah. There we go. Nice work.
He's the co-founder and CRO of Detect Auto. So you're a partner of ours.
Yes.
And it's a very vigorous process. I think sometimes people that want to become partners with us are like, oh my gosh, there's so many phone calls and so many emails and so many things. And it's really important for any partnership. Do your due diligence, right? Regardless of what, because you have to make sure it's a fit for everybody and a win-win. And what's important for us with our partners is finding people like Josh that we can trust. And we know that if we tell one of our members to give Josh a call, that they're going to get handled, and we're not going to get 10,000 emails and phone calls saying, why did you recommend this person? And they flaked out on me. And there just isn't anything worse than that. So I will say that I think our vendor relations manager does a great job of really vetting and making sure that the companies we work with have great. So did you feel it a little long becoming a
Yeah, I mean, we're just starting the process. So, I mean, it's only been a month here. So started, filling out stuff for you guys. But the main thing is we got a bunch of ATI. We have a bunch of ATI clients. So that's kind of how I got introduced, coaching company. They were like, we've been spreading through a lot of your guys' meetings and groups. So I would say I'm still garnering that respect. That's what I want to do. I want to earn it with working with ATI. And so we have something to prove here, I would say. And but just kind of at the beginning of the process here, and very excited to be here in Hawaii. Never been here before. So this is truly beautiful. A Midwest boy here from Minnesota. So anytime I get to go somewhere warm, I'm excited.
Awesome. So, and you brought up something. That's a great point. But people ask, where do you find your partners? How do you get them? And a lot of times it's word of mouth from somebody. One of our shop owners in the program will be using a company or somebody, and then they'll tell the other shop owners, and it comes up in 20 groups or meetings. And so then we get with our vendor relationship manager and say, hey, can you vet this company? Can you check them out? We have members, going in that direction, are they legit? Is this because we all know how our industry loves the shiny penny thing. Yeah. So we have to make sure that it's not a shiny penny thing, and it's going to be. So you are an entrepreneur, obviously. You co-founded and your business, and do you want to tell us a little bit about your journey? Because I love the entrepreneurial spirit.
First, I hope my company's not a shiny penny. We're working hard to not just be a shiny penny, but would love to talk about my journey, where I've come from really quickly. We've been doing Detect Auto for a bunch of years now, but just specifically this product that's been working only in the past 6 months. I'm 29, just like you.
Oh, there we go.
So same age, and just been started my journey back when I was 24. So just coming out of college, I actually studied environmental science.
Ooh.
So totally random.
That's a big switch.
I know, compared to here. I'm a little scared saying that because I know people from the industry here, and not afraid to say it. So started my own tree servicing business. So it was very, blue collar. I feel kind of connected a little bit here with the automotive space. It's a service industry where hard work, you can start your business off hard work. You can have a skill. You could be a skilled technician and then, start your own business. And when I was 24, I didn't know what was happening. I was just, I found a skill that I was good at, and didn't think I was, getting provided the opportunity that I should have at the time. And so I started my own business and created a team around me just to and it was just so simple because it's just you completing a task, right? That was kind of the first business, 24 out the gate. Didn't know what I was doing, but really enjoyed helping people. And it's just kind of been a process of actually learning how to run a business now, which has been the past 5 years. And it's taken a lot of time. Same thing with, if you're a technician, you start your own shop. doesn't mean you're a good business owner. I've kind of gone through that journey over the past 5 years with a couple other boys, and we are very ecstatic about where we're coming in at now. So
it's the typical E-Myth. I don't know if you're familiar with that book, but Michael Gerber, the E-Myth Revisited, and they talk about when you are the technician, and in the book, and the technician is the person doing the work. So they have stories about bakers and everything. They call everybody the technician, but he talks about that in great detail. We all know somebody that bakes great cupcakes or is a great, and we're like, oh, you should open a bakery. Why don't you open a bakery? And they open a bakery and they fail, like most small businesses, right? Because no one taught you how to run a bakery. And I'm sure, you know what I mean? There's not, you can take some great classes in high school and AP and everything else, but
even in college.
actually just running a business, and your mindset has to shift. There's a whole psychological shift in your mindset and your pattern of thinking to stop being the technician and becoming the owner. And I think a lot of people don't even realize, like, you are a CEO of a company. If you start a business, you are a CEO of your company, and you have to promote yourself, and you have to elevate, and you have to act like it. And it doesn't mean you can't still be blue collar or want to get your hands dirty, but you have to think about strategy, about leadership, about culture, engagement, all of those things. And that's not a skill set that easily transfers over, and it's a lot of learning, and there's not a lot of places to go to learn that. What do they say? You can't teach a kid to ride a bicycle from a book. There's a lot of great books on leadership, and but actually doing it. So, and what I loved about what you said about you built a team, and that's what a lot of this is about this week that we're talking about. The theme: use the resources, whether it's people, whether it's technology, whether it's partners. You have to build a team. The smartest people in the world have a team. Jeff Bezos has a team. It's not him sitting. I mean, they have advisors. They have, at the end of the day, it's your business, and you get to decide who you're going to listen to, or if you're going to take it all. But you have to build a team, and that's okay. It's not a sign of weakness. And a lot of people think that they don't want to ask for help because they feel like it's going to make them look weak. But gosh, we all need help. We all need help.
Well, like building a team, right? This is where, like you mentioned, when you have your own business, you are the CEO. Even if you're the only employee there, at that point, you're not just the CEO, but you're every other aspect of the business as well. And I do want to, mention this, when you start your own business, there's got to be a vision. Where are we going with this? Now, there's nothing wrong with being a business owner and knowing, hey, I want this to just provide for me and my family. Okay? If that's your vision, that's your goal. You're going to do whatever it takes to get to that goal. You don't have to have 20 locations. It doesn't have to be. Everybody's goals are a little bit different. Now, with that being said, as you're growing in the business journey, you're going to have to delegate certain things. You're going to have to find the best aspects of whatever you're strong at. So, for example, if you're the lead technician of cutting trees because you went to environmental science school, you understand what type of trees and all of that, and that was your strong suit, you might like that too, and you want to stick with that. So you're going to bring all these other players in to kind of help fill out and make sure everybody's the best at what they do. Now, with that being said, one thing that we chase is efficiency. This is all we're after, is efficiency, optimizing as much as we can. And I think that's something that Detect Auto is kind of really based upon, right? Is to make sure we are being the most efficient and using the technologies that we have to make that happen. So tell us a little bit about Detect Auto and what it does.
Yeah, for sure. Jumping ahead, Detect Auto.
I need to know how you got out of the tree business.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, let's do that.
To get there.
Work your way up there.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, I think you hit it dead on the head, though. It is, building a team is difficult. You don't get taught this. And so to me, it's all about developing yourself, developing your character, really the basics. You said,
You're making my heart sing right now. Okay.
Well, because it's what I focus on every day. It's what I try and live by as well. And it's had the biggest impact on my life. More than any skill I've learned is just working on yourself. And it comes down to even as simple things as telling the truth. When you said you show a sign of weakness when you think you're hiring somebody, I don't think that's a weakness. It's you need help. You would like people to surround by people that can help you in that situation. And if they're not willing to help you, maybe it's not the right person for you. So, just starting with the basics. I really thought your point was great. But going back to my tree business, I thought it was very similar to automotive, where It was hard to hire that team. It was not very easy to scale because you need to hire those people over and over again.
You're trading time for money.
Exactly. But you were able to start and generate cash flow from nothing. I had nothing. I had like $500 in the bank, and I bought a rope, and I'm climbing a tree. And so that's where I started. And then after that, I got approached by my CEO, John, co-founder, who I work with now at Detect Auto. Very excited to talk about. But he came to me and was like, hey, man, we're selling this really cool person tracking fan. And I was like, okay, I was very intrigued. I've never, he's like, hey, I know you're an entrepreneur. Tree work seasonal. I don't want to be climbing a tree when it's 40, 30 degrees out there, maybe even colder. So
I would be the Goldilocks of tree cutters because I wouldn't want to go when it was too hot, too cold, if it was raining, if it was.
Yeah, so just one day a year.
Yeah, there'd be like one day a year, maybe like a certain between 11 and 2. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no.
That's not me. I'm not.
It was tough work. So that's why I was able, relate in that blue collar sense, I think. And then we moved to this person tracking fan, which was a really cool idea. And we went through a whole different set of problems. Now you are manufacturing an item. You are doing e-commerce and trying to sell a product online. So it goes from a service you're providing to an actual product. And we did that for 2 years, and it was hard. It was manufacturing is difficult work. Selling it was hard. Products got to be really nice. The difference with that is it's really fast to scale the business if you got a product that works really well, but it's expensive. All your money goes back into inventory, goes back into ads, getting in front of people. One thing that business led us to is the automotive industry, though. We were going door to door. I was flying all over the country, door to door, and trying to sell this person tracking fan. And it would point wherever you walked and pull you. And we're like, where could this be used? And so we went to auto shops because we were like, I was like, hey, they don't have any AC. It's hot in there. There's one person working on a car. Man, I got rejected so many times. I can't even tell you. That was hard.
We don't like anything new unless it's like a tool. If it's a tool,
it has to be shiny.
It has to be shiny, and it has to, but something that makes sense, like, cool off your technician, or we don't want any part of that.
And that's what we learned. It was like, it wasn't a problem that they cared about.
How is keeping your
they don't need to be cold
regulated for your technician not a problem that you needed?
But that's a whole other roundtable for another topic.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So, but while going door to door, we got to meet a bunch of auto shops all over the place, and we actually got to discover their real problems. The fact that we cooled their technician 15% better, they didn't care about. But we learned that a lot of shops, they had no idea what was going on in the shop. They weren't aware of certain numbers, and we had a bunch of smart guys going around to these shops, and so we started digging up these problems. And over the past 2 years, we've been molding Detect Auto into trying to figure out how we can best help these shops. And it's kind of turned into these AI assistants. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We did a long journey. We did like data analytics. That didn't work. We were using computer vision, which we can talk about as well. Maybe the future of AI and stuff at the end of the pod. But just been trial and error for 2-3 years now of just hard work that nothing came out of it. So it was 2 years of just trying everything you have, you putting everything you have into it, and just, you got no money. I guess it was just a grueling phase of our life. I'm going to say as a business. What's the saying that, diamonds are made from pressure or whatever. So I think it's turned into us being just better leaders, know how to run a company. We've networked now, and so we can kind of hop into Detect Auto. But it's been a phase of, I feel like I've been able to touch and learn from so many different industries, going from service industry to product and e-commerce, and now into which is hardware, and then into software as well. So I've been able to touch on each one of these types of business, and each have their pros and cons. And a lot of people don't have that opportunity. So very grateful for that.
That is awesome.
I love it. I love that. And I love the part, and don't take this wrong, of you having to put in that sweat equity and being miserable. And I'm not happy you were miserable, but so many times today when I speak to people, and I know you run into it, people want to make change, or they want to do better. They want to elevate themselves or their business. And then we'll discuss, possibilities and options. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Oh, that'd be hard. Oh, What? You want me to whatever work on what? You want me to get my peanut? Like there, you have to put work in. That old adage about what you put in is what you get out, and
Exactly.
that doesn't go away. And we have tools now, resources and technology and things that help along the way and make things a little easier. But you still have to put in that sweat equity. And somehow a lot of business owners went from being that entrepreneur and willing to do that to all of a sudden it's almost beneath them. Like they're not going to do it. They don't want to sacrifice anything because they've been at it so long. But sometimes that's what it takes, is just that little bit more of, that blood, sweat, and tears that gets you there. And you got to remember that and what your goal is. And I think sometimes we give up too easy because we can.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think a humbling realization for me over the past couple of years is you are where you are. That's where you're supposed to be. Like, even though you're putting in all this effort, you think you're trying so hard, you're where you're supposed to be. And I think that's true. And it's kind of, like I said, humbling to get over the fact that I just spent 2 years and did nothing. And in some people's aspects, in my mind, I was developing myself and my skill set and things.
But you're talking to your friends and family, and they're like, "What are you doing? Where's your results? How long are you going to be doing this for?"
Yeah. I mean, for sure, my family, everybody talks about it. It's me using my 20s, 26, 27, 28, and 29, maybe, I don't know, maybe the most important years of your life to struggle just continuously over and
So
over.
you're kind of like that family that has the musician, that they're just like trying to play gigs and they want to be a rock star, and the family's like, "Listen,
Yeah.
just you got to get a real job, right? You got to."
I don't want to say that because my family has been very supportive.
That's awesome.
So they have been, but they are obviously, you got to be concerned, and they're having
Sure.
conversations. So
It's a normal thing when people from the outside don't see. And that's where, sometimes you can let that doubt get in. You have to trust in your journey and trust that you're where you're supposed to be. And sometimes you can let those naysayers talk you out of things that you shouldn't. You're the only person that knows what's right for you. And even when we want to be supportive of people, when we look from the outside, we're like, well, it's been, there's
gotta bring up
time.
something, right?
Do you think maybe look at a different avenue? So what did you find were the prompts? Because you said you wanted to find solutions for shop owners. What were the biggest problems, do you think, when you were going through and collecting data that shop owners are having?
with our team having some technical people on there and super smart individuals, we just learned that we could help on the computer. Time is a lot of time, and you guys are like, oh, obvious. There's all these software companies, but there's multiple different ways to help people. And one thing with our data analytics company that we had is we realized when technicians or when individuals are working on the car, they do great. They're efficient. They're completing work. A lot of times they're not dilly-dallying. In general, they work hard. And so that was inspiring to see. And the problems all came when they weren't there, And so we've been now developing, we have 3 different products now, but we're developing these different areas that help them complete their daily tasks. So try and make them a little more efficient, as you said, is a key thing that everybody wants to focus on. So if we can develop and help you on the computer, where it's a lot of people's, it's not their strong suit. That was one very interesting thing coming into the industry, noticing how, how far behind it was, I think.
Yes.
3 years ago, I came into here and I wasn't technologically advanced at all, but my 2 other co-founders definitely were. And to see like us walking into shops and most people were using pen and paper when I'm going into these shops, it was baffling to me, who I didn't think I was technologically savvy, but so it's been great to see the progression over even the past couple of 3 years. And
we're laughing with you, not at you.
Oh, yeah.
We had a whole conversation on a couple episodes ago about people handwriting repair orders still. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Technology moves quick.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, and this is one of the things that you brought up, right? Is how do we make things a little bit smoother, a little bit more efficient? And usually the barrier to entry is the biggest problem. Like that's why a lot of people are not utilizing a lot of the technology that is available. Sometimes it just costs a lot. Really, that's really a big barrier to entry. The other one is people just don't know how, or what they need to do or what they
Where
could
to
use.
start? Yeah. Even where to
And then
start.
from training perspectives as well. I mean, there's so much functionality with some of the shop management softwares that are out there right now. I mean, a lot of these are cloud-based now. There's so much stuff that you can do. And on top of that, there's so much stuff that they're continuing to introduce. So if my understanding is Detect Auto, like you mentioned, is kind of more, it's a virtual assistant in a sense. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
So what exactly can it assist in?
Yeah, great question. So one thing I want to get to that question,
Okay.
what we can assist with. But first, I want to touch on you saying, like, basically where you were implying is you need to keep learning. Of
course.
Never stop learning, and learning is scary. Learning a new technology is scary, and I guess I want to say that you need to though. That sounds so simple to say, but a lot of times you don't. Like, you need to keep continuously pushing yourself and learning new things and doing hard things. And learning's not easy. As I've learned, as you get older, it gets even harder.
Yeah.
You don't want to. You become less malleable, I think. And so I think, I want to get into this, our assistant and AI, but I think that learning is the key for moving forward for everybody. It's going to get harder and harder. The farther you fall behind, the harder that gap is going to become. And it's a double-edged sword, all this AI stuff. I bet everybody uses ChatGPT and everything every single day. It completes tasks, hundreds of tasks for me all the time. Me using that has improved my efficiency drastically. But like I said, it's a double-edged sword. You need to be sharpening your own brain so that you can continue to improve, into the future as well. So I want to say that. But then, yes, Detect Auto. What we do is we basically are a little assistant for you. How I think of it is like the old Microsoft Mr. Clippy.
Oh, the paperclip. Yes.
Paperclip, yeah. So basically that's kind of a vision we're building behind where
You just got entirely too excited for that.
Sorry. I just
he's forgotten about.
As soon as he mentioned it in my head, I could see it exactly on the bottom right. Or even when you're searching in Windows, that you could just do like a search and he'll pop up right there. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a he. It will pop up.
So then, I mean, that's kind of, like I said, not the vision, but like a fun way to look at it, where we're a special assistant for automotive shops and we help inside of your shop management software. So, if you use TechMetric or Shopware or whatever, any of these, we are not replacing that or even making you go to another software. We're just helping you complete tasks inside there. And one of them, for example, is we research every single car that comes into your shop. We compare it to your history, to the Carfax history. And then as soon as you just click one button, it'll tell you what's overdue in terms of maintenance on the vehicle. So super simple task, eliminates the monotonous 10 to 15 minutes it takes to research that vehicle. And now it's just right there with some other information that helps assist you make the sale, know what to sell, get some gravy work in the shop.
That is awesome. So it kind of makes me think of like, this is obviously a much lower technologically kind of add-on, but like Grammarly, right? Mm-hmm. Grammarly is an extension that you add on your browser. As you're typing, it's like autocorrect really, and it can even start predicting some of the text for you.
Yeah.
Right. And then also another one's like Honey. Mm-hmm. Right. Honey will find all the coupons for you and whatnot, which that's a very weird business model. Please look into it because you shouldn't be using Honey if you don't know exactly what it does. But that's another tangent. But either way, right? So this is where it's an assistant. It's helping kind of speed up that workflow. So for example, I love how you brought up the whole researching part of it. Mm-hmm. So we bring a car in and we do a DVI and we find an issue, let's say, or a recommendation for a service or whatnot. The Detect Auto plugin or extension, or however you want to refer to it, that would kind of take that a step further and do all the background research for you and then make a suggestion. Is that right?
Exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly right. Just helping you with that simple task of researching the car.
Which takes time.
Yeah, and it always seems to be the thing that gets pushed off when things get a little bit busy. It's a task that needs to be handled beforehand. It takes preparation. Or if you do it during, it can get very chaotic up front. So those are like the kind of areas we want to help on. Stressful situations or, with the maintenance in particular, just areas that nobody wants to do.
Yeah. So better present it. It's a tool. At the end of the day, it's a tool for the service advisor.
Yeah.
But I think this also kind of goes hand in hand with all the entrepreneurial stuff that you've been through. Everybody's journey is a little bit different. Everybody has different struggles. It takes 10 years or longer sometimes, or sometimes a little bit less, to become an overnight success, right? So it's nobody's ever been an overnight success.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. Now, with all that background that you have, I think this really opens up how you guys continue to develop your product, really, at the end of the day, your service that you're offering. Now, this is something that a lot of shop owners, we have to continue to do, kind of talk about what you were saying about you got to keep sharpening your own brain in a sense, right? Now, with this assistant, that does help kind of get rid of that barrier of entry that we were talking about earlier. But as everybody is transitioning into these cloud-based softwares, it's a whole different ballgame, right? And it's a lot of learning that you have to do beforehand. What are some prerequisites that some shop owners should have in place before they're looking at something like Detect Auto?
Yeah, the main thing is that cloud-based software that is currently required in order to use our product. It's how we currently interact. You mentioned extension, and that's how is plugin exactly how we are able to interact with. But to touch on your other point about easier entry points, another tool we have it helps the front of house ask good questions, and so it's basically we call it a customer concern questionnaire tool.
There we go.
So when you click customer concerns and the customer's in front of you or on the phone, you type in their concern, it will tell you exactly what responses. Exactly was the wrong word there, but it'll prompt you good responses. So what that does is, one, it allows you to hire more types of people up front. You can hire a great salesperson who's not very technical, and now they are assisted with asking good questions, technical questions, so that there's better communication in the shop. Your techs aren't annoyed that they get a check engine light customer concern or a noise that's happening. And so I would say the goal of this would be, besides the barrier of entry being your shop needing to be on a software, the goal is to make life simpler and take tasks away, not to make it harder. So if we're making it harder, we're doing, going
opposite.
Yeah.
That's great. I like how you phrase that, right? Making life simpler. Now, one thing I do want to bring up also, because you were talking about the questionnaire and not necessarily having that skill set that we would otherwise need to have. There's a funny tool out there now, where I'm sure some people have seen this, where people are interviewing for positions, technological positions, and they'll have an AI assistant pulled up, right? So they're doing the interview and someone's asking them technical questions like, how do you run this query in this program to get this?
Yeah. And
the AI assistant is just listening, and it'll answer it, pop it up on it there for you, and then you just read it off of there.
Oh my gosh.
So these virtual interviews, right? They're doing this, and this is just the capabilities that we have now.
Yeah.
And you mentioned this before, the automotive industry is quite a bit behind on adapting some of these things. So I encourage people to do your own research, right? And really look at what we can fix, what we can use, exactly what you did in your journey. You found the need and you guys kind of just ran with it, right? And just made corrections to get to where you're at now.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Of course.
The overall goal is to help people, right? And so, but yeah, I would just say help people, continue to learn, and do good for the planet. So that's the goals.
I think it's important too. We always have to be looking at what kind of solutions can we provide, and many great businesses are born from something that nobody else wants to deal with, or everybody gives somebody a headache and all of those things. And, Patrick Connell from ARS, one of our members, is a great example. A lot of shop owners and businesses don't want to deal with fleets. And there's a lot of reasons. I mean, it's legit, the reasons for a lot of them, but done correctly, it can be very lucrative and profitable. And so whenever Patrick was speaking with anybody, they're like, oh, no fleets, no fleets, no fleets, no fleets. Everywhere he went, any meetings, any, partner groups, anything he went to. So he's like, well, if nobody else is doing them, there's probably a lot out there that need to be serviced. And so he flipped his model completely around to do complete just with fleets. And it's amazing the business that he turned into. And even some of his larger fleets that have a big location, he actually has dropped off pods at their location with an inventory of the items that they use all the time and equipment. And so it's like a shop on the go that just goes. But he saw, here's something people are struggling with. Let me, instead of shying away and saying, I'm not going to do it. So what tips do you have? And obviously, I think any technology that helps you cover those things and make sure we're looking at the history properly and making sure we're doing all of that stuff, is a great help. But if somebody doesn't have that software, what are some of the things that shops should be doing, that whether they do it manually or go with
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. No, great question. I think just making sure you're aware. Like keeps coming back to learning. I think to me, just be aware of what's around you and make sure what you touched on just prior to this is the path. The path less traveled is sometimes it's the harder path. It's not it's not ironed out. Not everybody's walked down it every single time, but a lot of times on the other end there is a great business. But on that journey, you learned that this fleet company is making me a lot of money, but it was harder to obtain than doing the usual route. So I would just say, make sure you're learning. I don't have any like individual tips on, but just make sure you're kind of staying up to date on stuff and use it. Like, it's use it and keep your mind sharp. So
I think there is a tip that you did give earlier that kind of led you to kind of co-found Detect Auto, which is pay attention, right? You were going door to door, selling the personal the fan that follows you around.
yeah.
And you
I
were
would have bought that, by the way.
well, and you were so easily able to identify some of these, dropped communication or whatever the issues were in that shop.
Mm-hmm.
You guys can do the same thing in your shop.
Yeah.
I mean, just sit in the shop and look, see what's going on. Or sit in the office and don't do anything else. Look, see what's going on, and you will find something that you can improve upon. You don't have to go out like this gentleman and go create a Detect Auto. You could just do something directly in your shop and make a difference. And it makes everyone's life a little bit easier.
No, that's a great point. I think attention, awareness, being aware of people's actions around you all the time, not just being stuck in your own head, which I get stuck there all the time. But just, I think that's a great point. Being attentive to individuals around you, trying to be a good leader yourself, and then reflecting also on that all the time as well, which I personally hate journaling, but it is a necessary skill. Yeah.
There we go.
Wonderful, wonderful advice. And so for those of you out there that are, I could teach that class. I don't have to, it's the same stuff recycled with anything. Stop it. You have to continuously learn and elevate and read new things and learn new things. And it's
Never
good
ending.
for your body and soul, even if it doesn't help you in your business, which I can't imagine that it wouldn't. So thank you so much, Josh, for joining us today. It was quite delightful, and I love your story, and I love the entrepreneurial spirit.
Definitely.
And I think it's fabulous that you just stayed true to yourself and your dream, and can't let anybody derail you, for sure. Well, everybody stay safe and make good choices, and we are going to be back with some more episodes from here.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes 10 years or more to become an overnight success.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah.